Today we are diving into a topic that impacts all of us, which we call the antibiotic. We will discover what are bacteria and how those antibiotics kill those bacteria. And also look at the difference between two major types of antibiotic, which is the bactericidal and the bacteriostatic. And we're also going to look at some examples which you might have heard of previously. What are bacteria? Bacteria are microscopic single-cell organisms. They are everywhere in our bodies, on the surface, and even in the air floating up and down. While many bacteria are harmless or even helpful, some of them can cause infections. Those bacteria that causes infections are what we call the pathogens, and they are responsible for illness. Example, we have pneumonia and we have the strep throat. We have seen what are bacteria. What about the antibiotics? Antibiotics. Antibiotics are medicine designed to target and fight bacterial infections. Unlike other medications, antibiotics work specifically against bacteria, and it won't and will never have effect on viruses, which causes disease like flu and cold. So what I'm trying to explain here is this. Bacteria, or let's say antibiotic, they only target and kill bacteria. They don't have any business, not at all, with anything that has to do with virus or fungi. This is where things get juicy. Antibiotics are being categorized and grouped into two major types, which is the bactericidal and bacteriostatic. The word bactericidal is simply a combined word, which is bacteria and then cidal. Bacteriostatic also is a combined word, bacteria and then static. The word cidal simply means to kill. The static, to stop. If you combine the whole word, the antibiotic bactericidal is simply the type of antibiotic that kills the bacteria, and antibiotic bacteriostatic is simply the type of antibiotic that stops the growth of bacteria. This is where things get spicy. Let's look at some common example of bactericidal. So the first one, we have the penicillin. We have the cephalosporin, aminoglycoside, vancomycin, fluoroquinolone, rifampin, and the last one, metronidazole. But to make things ridiculously easy, we can use mnemonic in order to memorize this. This is how the mnemonic goes. But the penicillin and cephalosporin, I don't really have any mnemonic for that. So you just have to be patient and cram it that way. So the mnemonic goes like this. You can say penicillin, and cephalosporin are very cidal for real microbes. This is the mnemonic. So notice that the A simply stands for the aminoglycoside, and we have the vancomycin, which is the very fluoroquinolone. Fluoroquinolone is for 4. Rifampin, R, metronidazole is microbes. So what about example of drugs that are bacteriostatic, that stop the growth of bacteria? We have, I think that on the other that hard, we have drugs like erythromycin, and tetracycline, etc., etc. This is the most interesting part. Now let's look at some of the way this antibiotic work. We have the key mechanism of the antibiotic. We have the attacking the cell wall, blocking the protein production, stopping the DNA replication. The last but not the least, disrupting the cell membrane. So how does this work? Let's take an example with bactericidal antibiotic. like penicillin, amoxicillin, etc., etc. What they actually do, they attack the bacterial cell wall. So notice that this is a typical structure of, let's say, bacteria. Let's write it down. Bacteria. And here we have two walls, one from the inside and one from the outside. From the inside is what we call the cell membrane. Membrane. From the outside is what we call the cell wall. And here we have things like the plasmid. Here we have the plasmid. From the inside we have the cytoplasm. We have mitochondria, etc., etc. So we take an example with drugs like we said penicillin and amoxicillin. What they actually do, they attacked the cell wall. We say the cell wall is the one from the outside. They basically attacked this. So notice that the cell wall is a protective layer that keeps the bacteria intact. So when this antibiotic breaks down the wall, the bacteria become weak and burst, leading to their death. So the second one is blocking the protein production. So this actually happens inside of the cytoplasm. We have the ribosome and we have protein synthesis. So we have some certain drugs that block this protein synthesis. In other words, you can say they inhibit. Inhibition is the something as blocking. So what really happened here? Bacteriostatic antibiotic, they are the one that does that. Example, we said we have the tetracycline and we have the erythromycin. So what they do is they stop the production of protein. So notice that since protein are essential for bacteria to function and multiply, this antibiotic prevents the infection from spreading, giving our immune system a second chance to fight off the bacteria. So, and the next one is stopping the DNA. The same way we have protein synthesis inside of this cytoplasm, we also have the DNA synthesis here. So notice that antibiotic like ciprofloxacin interfere with the DNA inside of the bacteria. DNA replication is necessary for bacteria to divide and make more of themselves. By blocking this process, this bactericidal antibiotic prevents the bacteria from spreading, eventually killing them off. So this is what they do. They inhibit the DNA synthesis. So example of the drug we said we have ciprofloxacin. The last but not least is disrupting the cell membrane. Notice that this is the cell wall and this is the cell membrane. They are kind of closer but different. So it inhibits. What really happens when it does that? Some antibiotics like polymyxins break down the bacterial cell membrane. The cell membrane controls what enters and exits the cell. When the membrane is damaged, essential content leak out, leading to bacterial death. So this is it for this problem. Very, very easy and simple. So, but there is just one thing which I need everyone to understand, which is the importance of using antibiotic correctly. You should know that it is crucial to use antibiotic responsibly. If we don't do that, if we don't complete a prescribed course or we overuse antibiotic, it can become resistant. And when we say resistant, the ability to fight back against attack. Because antibiotic actually, they are attacking the bacteria. And when those bacteria gain a resistivity, so it's actually a problem. This means they can evolve to survive even when the antibiotics are present, making infections harder to treat. Always follow your doctor's instruction to help prevent antibiotic resistance. So thank you for joining me today. Feel free to like, share, and please subscribe if you find this video helpful. Thank you and see you next time. Today we are diving into a topic that impacts all of us, which we call the